Part 1, Chapter 2, Life Biology. From Rocks to Cells, Sublime, Simple Complexity. Life biology is stunningly complex, beautifully organized. Interconnected processes run your body 24/7, 365. How did this happen? Rocks to Cells, the stuff of life biology. In the last chapter, I left you with an enigma: how to transform rocks into cells, geochemistry to biochemistry. Well, science hasn't found a solution yet to reach life biology. Watch this very lucid video presentation from Dr. Nita Sahai about the challenges scientists face to accomplish this feat. Let me note what I consider to be a few critical points on the road to life biology. At 4 minutes 20 seconds into the video, she states, "Which came first, genes or metabolism?" At 5:40, "We can't do reactions of the first life from minerals. Only come up with plausible ideas. Everything is taken with a grain of salt." At 19 minutes 45 seconds, "What came first? What came second? It's hard to pin it down." 21:05, "Minimum life needs: 1. A membrane. 2. Heritable and mutable for evolution. And 3. Metabolic cycles." And at 26 minutes 25 seconds, the main problem: you have the genetic molecule DNA that produces enzymes. But the enzymes are needed to make the DNA. Which came first, chicken or egg? Actually, it's more complicated than that, because DNA first transcribes to RNA. There's the very complex process in modern life. DNA leads to RNA, which leads to proteins, all involving enzymes. Below is a diagram from Dr. Sahai's excellent presentation, illustrating the interactions between these various individual chemical pieces that assemble perfectly in life biology. Once again, this transformation of geochemistry to biochemistry, life biology, like fine-tuning the universe, doesn't prove anything. Instead, you can consider them as just 2 bricks of compelling evidence. Science hasn't yet figured out the how and will never know the why, but it recognizes some missing links. Processes in processes. Let's move on to another brain teaser related to life biology. The first book in the explanation series is Inventory of the Universe. It is a journey from the vastness of outer space to the minuteness of the quark, from the physics of elementary particles to the psychology of the human mind, a portrayal of our known universal environment. A 4-star review of the book at Goodreads said, "This book is like an updated and longer View from a Height by Isaac Asimov, an overview of the world and science from physics to biology." I have to admit, it's nice to be compared to Isaac Asimov. His book covered 17 essays dealing with biology, chemistry, and physics. However, the reviewer missed the essential point, or maybe I wasn't clear enough. Here's the crux of the matter I emphasized on numerous occasions. In Part 7, I wrote about human life. To speak in terms of function and refer to sheer numbers is inadequate to describe the processes that perform like a battalion of flying trapeze artists in total sync. in our bodies, in human life, in flora, in fauna, and indeed in the universe. The full gamut is breathtaking and awe-inspiring. Regarding the human body, this is life biology. Hundreds, thousands, and millions of timely processes are taking place night and day. This is the ultimate in chronobiology. Very complex biological procedures, and the clock being in the right place at just the right split second. It's so much more than simply mixing a few chemical elements together. Timing, the instantaneous coordination of umpteen intricate systems, is a decisive ingredient we cannot omit. I dare you to define life. Scientists have synthesized certain DNA molecules, mixed, matched, extracted, and implanted them to make a living entity. They've accomplished this process with bacteria that beat like in a heartbeat. Under such circumstances, we could say this organism is living, but it didn't last. Life is more than bringing elements together and having them beat the right beat. This has nothing to do with their tremendous biological breakthrough, but we need at least two additional functions. First, sustainability. An integral part of life is its capacity to sustain itself and have the ability to continue to live. Therefore, the organism must have access to and assimilate the correct fuel and the proper variety of food year-round. It then has to break down the food into chunks, transform it into energy, use its metabolism to digest and convert it to chemicals to run its machinery, and produce extra energy to accomplish external activities. Not to mention, it must also be able to remove waste products. And second, reproduction. Life biology must reproduce itself. It must bring forth new life of and by itself, with no external help manipulating the elements that are a part of the original living entity. We're talking about a reproduction system, be it asexual or sexual, but it must permit a second and third generation. Otherwise, it's not life. In that case, it lasts for a certain period and becomes extinct. When the organism reproduces, depending on its complexity, it needs to copy itself, but not exactly. It needs some plasticity. Otherwise, we'd have robotic dogs with robotic humans. Not only is there no variety, but it would end life with the problems arising from consanguinity and genetic disorders. If it can't reproduce regularly and develop a self-sustaining population, we'd have to recreate life by assembling all the elements repeatedly. From chemicals to life biology. DNA comprises 5 elements: oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, and phosphorus. The life biology cycle occurs in each of those 100 trillion cells of your body, especially amino acids and proteins, which are vital building blocks. In a very simplistic way, this is the virtuous circle of chemical life. 5 elements bring forth 20 to 100 amino acids that produce 500 to 1 million proteins that give rise to DNA. We don't know the precise number of amino acids or proteins in the makeup of our bodies, nor exactly how many are used for what purpose. The above are estimates. Notice that in the circle, in the image, If you start with the 5 basic elements and follow the circular path, it gets more complicated as you proceed. Still, after the most complex, DNA, it immediately leads back to the simplest, the 5 elements. This is precisely what happens in your body. In a nutshell, schematically, that's what digestion is. Breaking down the food and water we intake. Of course, we might not think about digestion this way, but through multiple processes, your body is taking apart, breaking down food, metabolizing it into molecules and atoms, then rebuilding, synthesizing those essential elements into DNA via the amino acids and proteins. It's a very simplistic representation of life biology. The point is to explain chemical life is a virtuous, never-ending circle. You cannot start just anywhere in the circle, go a certain distance, then end somewhere and say, this is life. Life biology is the entire circle. It's not the chicken or the egg, it's the chicken and the egg, with no interruption and no outside intervention, all or nothing. That's life. That's the scientific, practical approach. But we really need to meditate on life's biodiversity to appreciate the complexity of its beauty. Look at the pictures or read a book like Zoology by the Smithsonian Institution, Oceanology, The Secrets of the Seas Revealed, or Microlife, Miracles of the Miniature World. Discover the unique and beautiful kingdoms of life at a microscopic scale, and how every organism meets the challenges of survival, no matter its size. Life biology is a blaze of amazement. For example, in the epilogue of Inventory of the Universe, I wrote, all the processes of each aspect of our environment fit together. For example, see the nitrogen and water cycles, butterflies, wasps, and bees pollinating flowers and plants. These processes impact, intermingle, and create an interface so that other processes can express themselves. We live in a fully integrated, interdependent environment with no missing or redundant parts. Are the chicken and the egg evidence of something we're missing?